Thanks very much. It's really lovely to be here in the K Club, and I'm really pleased the weather's picked up for you all, because you can let us know, God knows, it was pretty miserable yesterday. I have to say, talking about audit before 8:30 on a Monday morning, this is a tough call. So there's lots and lots of slides. You'll be really pleased to know I will be not talking through those in detail or asking any questions later. But we have left them in the pack so that if on a dull moment to flight back, you want to get a bit more information about it, have a look through it, and then you can come back with any questions. Now, as you've been told, my name is Niamh Meehan. I'm a financial services partner with Grant Thornton here in Ireland, and with my colleague John Perry, who's head of financial services tax here. We're going to go through a little bit about Grant Thornton internationally and locally, and also the sort of services that we provide. Some of you might be familiar with Grant Thornton, and it's just to give a little bit more detail on that. So, internationally, Grant Thornton is about the 5th largest audit and advisory practice. An association of independent firms. We're represented in over 130 countries. I couldn't name them all, but I know I've seen a list of it. And basically what that does is it recognises that a lot of our clients have an international focus, and our role is to make sure that we can match that global footprint. When you're a member firm of Grant Thornton, it means that you have to apply a similar methodology, a similar level of client service, of risk awareness, really to make sure that clients get a similar level of service throughout the globe. And to make that work, we have international business centres, and that's individuals that are located in the key centres, just to make sure that those relationships work, because we recognise that that's the way most people will carry out their business today. In the US, we've got offices, we've got about 50 offices that really cover the States, and it's certainly a key market for us. It's one that we spend a lot of time working with. Locally, Grant Thornton has been the fastest growing audit and advisory practice in Ireland over the last decade. And we now have over 720 people, that's partners and staff, across 6 offices. And the growth, certainly since I joined through a merger in 2007, has been exceptional. And we've done that growth largely by looking at what are the key services and sector lines. Financial services is a key focus for us, and that's international as well as locally. It's recognised as a sector that is of critical importance, and one that our clients really, it's a very wide-ranging sector that really touches on most of our clients. You've heard I'm Global Head of Asset Management, and within that role, that's really making sure I work with the firms in the network to make sure that where clients are likely to need services across the key centres, or the propositions we're bringing, or the issues that we're addressing, that's done in a coordinated fashion so that clients feel they have a seamless service with somebody who's taking responsibility for it. And I sit on the global and the European strategy teams, because really as we look to build up that presence throughout the network. Grant Thornton in Ireland really has a very large presence in the international network. Maybe that's the thing about Ireland, being a small island, that we know that we have to focus outside of it. Our head of forensic is global head of forensic, and we also have representation on the Global Advisory Board. So Grant Thornton in Ireland is absolutely a firm of substance, as is Grant Thornton internationally. And now going on to the really interesting part of this is talking about the audit. I have been involved as the audit partner with Kenmare since its incorporation. Now, it's very important to set out now that I can't go into detail about exactly how I audit Kenmare, the results of it, my relationships, things like that. Our regulator doesn't permit anything like that, because the key part of an audit service is that it's independent. Kenmare is an Irish company established under the Irish Companies Act. It has a board of directors who are responsible for the governance of the company, and they are the ones who direct us. So our role is very much in providing an independent and robust audit opinion on the results of Kenmare, and then separately providing tax compliance and advisory services. So instead then just looking at audit in the main, we have a dedicated financial services audit team. We also have a dedicated tax team and teams with financial services expertise around business risk, regulatory, business consulting, forensic and cybersecurity. So within our dedicated financial services team, we look after about 250 special purpose vehicles, investment funds, hedge funds, and they have a full range of structures, domiciles and investment strategy. And a number of those include things like life settlement, structured settlement, litigation funding, a whole range of sort of things that are quite complementary to what Kenmare do. So in terms of our audit approach, you've heard that the records are administered here at St. Travis, and that's our main area. That's who we deal mainly with in relation to the audit. because that's the independence of the records here. So in advance of every audit, what we look at for all of our clients is saying, what are the key risk areas? What is it that they do, and therefore how does our audit approach need to get tailored for that? We use a global methodology that's tailored for the Irish market and tailored again for the specific operations of every client. So our audit is carried out throughout the year. It's not a one-shot deal long after the year end is finished and where nobody's really that interested anymore. We look at keeping in contact with clients, with Centralis, with all of the providers, to make sure that we understand what is going on, what's happening, and we go out to Chicago to meet. John was out there fairly recently, and it's all about making sure that our audit work is completed to the right timeline and works with the service providers who are involved with it. It's a process that has been going on for a number of years. We've seen the growth in Kenmare, and we're really pleased to see that looks like that's going to continue. So that's a really interesting run through the audit. It's a bit of a whistle stop, but I'm sure that's as much as everybody wants to know about audit. But I'd like to now hand over to my colleague John Perry. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Morning everyone. I met some of you last night, but just to reintroduce myself to those who I haven't met, my name is John Perry. As Pete mentioned, I'm the head of Financial Services Tax with Thornton. I'm a tax lawyer and I'm a chartered accountant here. I sit on the Irish Debt Securitisation Tax Committee. I also sit on the Irish Funds Tax Committee here as well. As Niamh mentions, we audit about 200 funds, we have about 250 SPVs that we audit. And so why Ireland, I suppose? Well, what we do as part of our job is, obviously Ireland is a very much open and transparent and tax efficient jurisdiction to do business in. Part of that is that the tax legislation in Ireland is written into law, and it's very open. There's no agreements that you have to get with the revenue. There's no deals behind closed doors. It's all written into law, and that's part of our job in audit is that we audit that, and we provide tax opinions to that effect, and then we go in and we make sure that we're meeting all the requirements in Ireland to meet that. And in Ireland, for Irish SPVs, there's quite a limited number of revenue audits, because once they're set up correctly, they're done in such a way that they're tax efficient, and the revenue are aware of them. There's nothing that we're open and transparent with them, and we have a very good relationship with them. So that's a tax basis. We also have many other reasons. So you've heard of all the big US companies like Google and Facebook, but we also have the likes of PIMCO, BlackRock, Merrill Lynch. They're all based in Ireland as well. So we have a local expertise here that deals with these day in. So we have the likes of Centralis and Anthony and so on, who are familiar with all these type of structures, and we do this in day out. We're also quite cost competitive, I think, to other jurisdictions in Europe, but we're an onshore regulated jurisdiction. So we're not the Bahamas or the Cayman Islands. It's very much open with the central bank here, and I think we do a good job of it. And I know we'll come on to the SPVs and we'll talk about the tax structures for Irish SPVs, but in short, and Anthony can speak more to this as well, but in short, it's tax neutral here. There's no wealth taxes, there's no withholding taxes on your payments. We can structure it in a way that it's done in a very tax efficient, and there's no tax pickup here in Ireland. And that is with revenue acceptance and agreements. And it's open with there, and it's written into legislation. I'm around to answer tax questions later on if anybody has them. I'd also just mention that we brought, although we might need them today, any of the golfers, there's or not, there's umbrellas there and there's golf balls, so please help yourselves. And also I just like to take the opportunity.
You're going to need them at least tomorrow.
And I'd also just like to take the opportunity to thank PJ for the invitation last night. I think everyone will agree it was an unparalleled venue and really enjoyable, so thanks very much.
Thanks. It was fun.
Yeah. I'll be happy to take any tax questions when we get into the detail.
Yeah. Thanks, John. We're going to